In today's video, I am going to be breaking down 5 sideline and inbounds plays that you can run with your team if you are a high school coach. Definitely make sure to go check out my Unbeatable Basketball Zone defense book that will definitely be able to stop pretty much any inbounds plays that you get faced with. Okay, so in this first sideline inbounds play, what we are going to be looking to do is to try to get ourselves either an open 3 or maybe a back side or weak side lob. So what we're going to start with is a quick screen for player 2, and player 4 is going to come up and set that staggered screen for player 2 to sprint down into that low corner. This can be an open 3-point shot potentially. And then we're going to have player 5 and 1 set a back screen, or I would say an elevator style back screen for player 4. They're going to close, and this is going to be a lob pass to player 4 for potentially a dunk or a layup. If neither of these options are open, player 1 will sprint over towards the wing, player 5 will sprint up, and one of those two should be open. But our number 1 option will be player 2 for the 3-point shot. Secondary option is player 4 for that lob layup or dunk. Now, a lot of teams are starting to run different elevator style screens and things like that along sidelines and baselines. And I understand why, but now there's a lot of teams that just know how to defend it extremely well. So first, we're going to start by having a screen off for player 2. Player 2 is going to use that screen, and by the time he gets to this point, he needs to make a decision. Is he going to fake up and then go out to the corner, or is he going to go between players 1 and 5 to then use them as an elevator screen? If player 2 uses them as an elevator screen, then obviously he may be open for a 3-point shot. If he decides to instead go out to the corner, that could be a 3-point shot. If he does go out to the corner instead, player 5 and 1 are going to set a staggered screen for player 4. If he doesn't go to the corner and he goes up and uses these players as an elevator screen, player 4 is then just going to then sprint out towards this corner. Either way, we're trying to get that ball into one of these two spots. Player 5 and 1 can then split, and they can be our backup options just to be able to get that ball inbounds. Okay, so for our third play, we're going to be looking to try and get player 2 a 3-point shot out along this sideline. I really like elevator screens, as you've probably already guessed, and we're going to have player 2 choose to go in between either player 4 and 5 or between players 1 and 4. And depending on what happens, there's going to be different options for each. So if player 2 goes between 4 and 5, player 1 splits off. That gives us 2 options to pass the ball into. If instead player 2 uses 1 and 4 and they close, now player 5 is going to be the one crossing behind them, and now we have 2 options, players 2 and 5, to get that ball inbound to. Obviously, if player 2 gets this ball, he is going to be looking to take that 3-point shot if possible. If player 5 gets it, we're going to set up the offense. If player 2 gets that ball, we can set this screen on one side or the other. Player 1 clears, player 3 can come off of a staggered screen, and when player 2 is attacking the paint, we can then have the option to pass out to player 3 or pass down to player 4 or score himself. All of these options are very viable to be able to use. Now let's say we just want to try and get this ball inbound as best as possible so that we can get player 2, the actual inbounder, to score. So in our fourth play, we're going to now have player 1 and 5 set a staggered screen for player 4. Player 4 is going to get that ball from player 2, and now player 2 is going to sprint inbounds. He's going to be using 1 and 5 as an elevator screen, and player 2 is then going to continue out. Player 4 is going to dribble out towards the middle, and he could be open. The other option we can set is to have player 3 set a secondary screen for player 2, depending on where his man is going. After that happens, whether we set that screen or not, I want player 5 and 1 to clear and player 3 to set that screen if player 2 doesn't have that 3-point shot. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. Make sure to go check out my Unbeatable Basketball Zone defense book that is down in the description below. Anyways, I hope that these plays will help your team win more games.